I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, July the 11th, and I want to start off telling you, will not be a feeder flash for Friday. On Friday, I'm going to be at a buddy of mine, Rob Bergevin's sale barn, Foothills Auctioneers in Stavely, Alberta, Canada, for the International Livestock Auctioneers Contest. So will not be available to have that feeder flash for Friday. But we'll be back with you for the summary starting the week out next week. But it's going to be higher around on everything. Our fat cattle trade is not developed yet, but it's going to be higher. Board's been pretty supportive so far this week, and had some big time sales on Wednesday, and we're going to talk about that. Somebody spiked the barbecue sauce is what we figured out maybe. The Bassett livestock auction, Bassett, Nebraska, had another humdinger for their big barbecue special. We're still checking on if there's any truth to the rumor that is going to be a Nebraska state holiday, the Bassett barbecue special. It might as well be, but I know in recent years we've talked about that sale, and we said that we think maybe they're giving away free whiskey and beer and force feeding these buyers before they start the sale. They've denied those rumors. I don't know if I believe that. I've been there, been to the Corral Bar. I was there earlier this spring and was there 3 or 4 days, and I think I might still be buzzing a little bit from it. Maybe from what we partook there, maybe from the quality of the cattle. I'm not sure. But I'm thinking if they haven't done it right out in the open, they've at least spiked the barbecue sauce for that big sale. But oh my gosh, what they sold there. I'm going to give you a complete rundown. I want to make you wait until the very end of it, because that's going to be the send-off for this feeder flash. But let's talk about the board on Wednesday. August live cattle futures down 50 cents. And you think, hey, it's down. But it didn't take a quarter back of what we gained earlier in the week. So we're still sitting good. Most of your technical analysts think that we've had that big push, and then it's going to snap back and then run again just like a pinball. But August live cattle futures down 50 cents, 107.62. October down 32 cents at 108.97, but not bad at all considering what we've gained earlier in the week. August feeder cattle down 52 cents at 142.35, and September down 27 cents, 142.85. Your open interest on your live cattle have set a new low for 2019. What does that mean? There's just not as many people trading the market right now. We know that our funds managed money has been short cattle, especially on feeder cattle here for quite a bit. I think they've decided that that's not going to work. They'll be getting out of those, and to any speculators, it looks like the market's got more room to go up than it does down. So it won't take very many of them to get in and push, and we can continue to see a rally in this futures market on the cattle. Fat cattle market. I told you earlier in the week that it's going to be very quiet because the packers need cattle, and they know that the market's going to be higher this week. So been fairly quiet around. But we did see steady bids develop already this week. That tells us the market's sure going to be higher. We've heard a lot of kind of rumors around the negotiated grid price that some of these regional packers use to try to get in and get some of those really high grading cattle, those better quality cattle, because they perform well on the grid. And then they kind of negotiate a base grid price and then go from there. Those negotiated grids have been reported from 182 all the way up to 185. So that tells us the market's going to be pretty good. And then did hear a rumor from a private source, but very reliable source there, later in the afternoon before anything would have been turned in on mandatory or anything like that, but of a string of steers out of Iowa that brought 182 FOB picked up from a major. Now that would tell us that this market's going to be a lot better, because not sure how much freight there was to get those, but it sure be a few dollars buck or two anyway, for sure, maybe more. So what are we looking at now? I know I won't talk to you, and I don't think the trade will absolutely develop until Friday. We'll probably see some Northern Plains trade on Thursday here, but it's just because the Packers are hand to mouth. They need cattle right away, so they may come in and buy, but I don't think we'll probably establish our Southern Plains market until Friday because it's higher, and that's just kind of the way things go. My guess is your live price is going to be somewhere between 112 and 115. And I'm thinking that 112 could establish the Southern Plains, and maybe some 115 up in the Northern Plains because they are trading at a premium. I threw out there earlier in the week that we could get 185 dressed in the Northern Plains. Didn't look like that, but if there's any truth to that rumor at 182 FOB, we're right there, guys. But we'll see what that does, and then I'll have a complete wrap-up for you on your summary to start the week out next week. Box beef cutout values have been drifting lower and continue to drift more lower on the select. And your choice is hanging in there pretty good. Our grading all of a sudden is not as great as it's been here for a while. It has to do with the kind of cattle we're killing right now, the fact that we're very, very current, especially in the Northern Plains where you get the biggest supplies of that choice and higher graded product. But also may have replaced a few, replaced or recalibrated a few of those cameras around. That pulls your choice down quite a bit too. But choice product on Wednesday afternoon, $214.42 down 31 cents. Your select all the way down at $190.89 down $1.20, and we're starting to get a pretty good spread there between the choice and select. I want to talk a little bit about fake meat, but not too much. Taco Bell has said no to fake meat. You know, it's been in the past we've talked that Taco Bell has put so much filler in their beef, in their taco meat, that you really couldn't consider it beef, but they're not going to start using the fake meat product. So hooray, Taco Bell. If you guys' bellies will stand it, stop in and eat some of it. For some of you guys that can't handle that, you know, just maybe go through and throw a couple of dollars in the tip jar there. But they did say that they will cater to the vegetarians the way they've always done it. They can substitute their beans, refried beans, for meat. Hey, that's fine. If guys want to do that, they've been doing that all along. But in that little story that come from Greg Henderson at Drovers, that reminds me that I need to tell you, if we don't have a champion for fighting this fake meat off, we do now. Greg Henderson at Drovers, he's a friend of mine, did an article about me many years ago, and we've been good friends ever since. But Greg Henderson knows where it's at. He knows which way to push. He knows which is right and what's wrong in this cattle industry. And he's putting these little articles out every time he finds something out about this fake meat, and he's getting it out there, guys. Getting it out there in Drovers, getting it out there through them with social media, and needs to be recognized there. But hooray for Greg Henderson for keep fighting this fake meat deal, because it's a real thing, guys, and I don't think we're fighting on it near hard enough yet, but the shine is definitely coming off. Taco Bell even noted that they had talked to Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger representatives both before they decided that they're not going to go with any fake meat, and the shine is definitely coming off some of those fake meat products. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets, guys. Your real-time index on Cattle Market Central late on Wednesday, sitting at 141.39, back over $1.40, well over $1.40, based on an 800-pound steer up through the Center 12 state region, just like your CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index. That 141.39 is up $4.51 just since the close of Tuesday. So that's an amazing jump. But when you start hearing some of these prices out of Bassett, Nebraska, and how much higher it was in El Reno, Oklahoma, then you're going to see how easy it is to push that, especially since we had very, very light receipts working with because it didn't have hardly any sales last week due to the holiday. But your latest CME set at 135.76, not including any of these big sales. You look for your CME to be similar to that once it catches up, but always running a day or two behind. At your biggest sale, OKC West, 11,400 head for the 2-day sale. They had well over 9,000 head of feeder cattle on Wednesday. Was able to stop in, see a bunch of the guys there, and I tell you what, if they don't run a tight ship there, where else can you see them? They're selling over 9,000 head of feeder cattle there. Nobody's excited. Nobody's in a hurry. They know that they're going to get the cattle sold. Everybody's going to get home in a good time. It's quiet in there, and the cattle work through there real easy. Just sitting there, and the amount of North Texas cattle that they get in there. There's more North Texas cattle than there are Oklahoma cattle. That's where you go to sell those green grass yearlings, guys, and a lot of them coming out of that North Texas area. But very, very good market. Feeders there called $7 to $9 higher. Wow. It was hot, but the cattle had a pretty good way up coming in. Cattle not suffering at all, but it's hot, guys, and it's that time of year. But buyers just going after them, and I tell you, the bidding was active. A lot of times it's hard to tell how active things are. I mean, when you've got half a dozen guys bidding with big time orders on about every set of cattle that comes in there, it's just bang, 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 and got to crawl up in the block there and get behind the legend Dale Cooper there, and I tell you what, he knows how to gather the chips when he's looking out at that crowd, especially on a day like Wednesday when those bids were firing in there. But just amazing how well those cattle were selling. You know, they called them $7 to $9 higher, and you think, really? I watched this one set of cattle here that I'll show you the quote on through Cattle Market Central. 70 head of 1,047-pound steers bring 129.50. Our fat cattle market last established at $1.09, and those cattle were not thin. We're not sure what it's going to cost to put that on. It's not going to be too far below $1 probably putting those on. You talk about optimistic, guys. But awful good market at OKC West, and really enjoyed stopping in there and talking to some of the buyers, some of the producers and the management there. My friend John Cooper, and he and I have gotten pretty close as we promote these auction markets, and just great to see all those guys there. And you talk about running a tight ship on the biggest market in the nation. But look at this Cattle Market Central market report out of OKC West and El Reno. This is all the cattle, guys, and pay attention on those bigger, heavier feeders. This is just your Wednesday sale. 1,714 head of 7-weight steers averaged 759 at 141.68. 1,941 head of 8-weight steers averaged 845 at 136.60. Now those two quotes right there is telling you why that real-time index is up $4.50 in one day. But 1,457 head of 9-weight steers averaged 936 at 127.47. Look at some heifers. 1,375 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 741 at 132.92, and 810 head of 8-weight heifers averaged 837 at 124.38. Now, there's your commodity market there. That's how much higher the market really is, $7 to $9 higher than the last sale, which was 2 weeks ago. Now we're going to talk about Fantasyland, Bassett, Nebraska, barbecue special. Where would you rather be? It didn't get to go up there. I'm going to make it one of these days. Probably going to be a Nebraska state holiday before long, but 7,700 head there. You know, we've been talking about how good these videos have been all day. You don't have to be in a casino sitting in a plush chair with the cold air blowing on you. You can be at Bassett, Nebraska, old school top of a sale barn, sitting on wooden risers there. but I tell you what, the quality that they run under you, it's just amazing there. Absolutely, those cattle there are right through the sand hills in Nebraska, the best in the world. And nobody's denying that at all. Nobody even questions it because they're absolutely the best. And everybody knows how good they'll feed. And they're just betting on the come. And the ways, the amount of distance that they're willing to bet on the come on some of these cattle is unbelievable. But the market reported there, compared to 2 weeks ago, which was kind of a calf special, they mostly had middleweights, didn't have a good test of the heavier ones 2 weeks ago, but they did, in comparison on Wednesday's sale, those middleweight cattle, those kind of 5 to 750 weight cattle, on the steers, 5 to 14 bucks higher than 2 weeks ago. On the heifers, sure, 3 to 10 bucks higher. And those 8-weight cattle could be nearly that much higher, the 8s and 9s, because they just didn't have a good comparison on those big cattle. But look at this market report out of Bassett, Nebraska on Cattle Market Central. 1,143 head of 8-weight steers, averaged 851 at 152.23 on the weighted average on all the 8-weight steers. 1,355 head of 9-weights, averaged 938 at 146.66. And on the heifers, 710 head of 8-weight heifers, averaged 840 at 139.79. Let's talk about some calves that sold out of this world. 81 head of 581-pound steer calves, guys, bring $200.50. We're back to that. All this doomsday we've had around, all the flooding, all the misery we've had, we're back to that. 186 head, biggest drive we had all day anywhere in Bassett, Nebraska. 797-pound steers, right at 800 pounds, 163 and a quarter, and these are not program cattle. Talking to Matt Lowry there, I said, how much bells and whistles were on these cattle? He said there were no program cattle in there, just the quality, burning up with quality. You know, they had a few alliance deals with some breed-specific programs there, but none of the gap cattle there, none of the organic cattle, anything like that. Could have been a few NHTC cattle blended in there. There always is a few, but for the most part, no programs, just quality and competition and a live auction, guys. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.